Americans leaving America to live the American dream? Are we Americans living the American dream? I see that a lot of people are leaving and going to different countries because they feel like the struggle is so bad in America. They indeed feel that we do have a lot of opportunities for education and stuff, but once we make a certain amount of money, it's like you're still only working to pay bills. Like everything is so expensive, from the cable to the internet, the cars, where you live. And they feel like you can go to Thailand, Belize, all those different places and live a simple life. So what's going on in America? Like, how are things so inexpensive in other countries? The rent is so high here, when they like the rent in those different countries are little as nothing. So y'all tell me, what's going on? How can things be so much different in price? Are we Americans living the American dream? And if not, why not? Like, what we need to do? Y'all leave me in the comments and let me know.
Americans are finding peace in other countries. Why is it that we are learning to really, really love on ourselves? We are really learning what it feels like to have peace, to have freedom, to really unconditionally show ourselves the self-love that we deserve. Why is it that we have to leave and go outside of America to have access to quality health care, to have access to doctors that actually care about our health? Why is it that we have to leave America to actually get healthier? Why is it? Why is it that we can leave America? No one asks us about our credit. Why is it that we have to leave America to feel safe? Why is it? Why is it that so many Americans are thriving outside of the United States? And we don't have that type of thriving activity inside of the United States. Why is it that we have to leave America to have a sense of peace? Why is that? Can anybody answer me that question? Because inquiring minds want to know. Why is it that we can move outside of America and have a better life? Why is it that we can move outside of America and have the peace that surpasses even our own understanding? Why is that? Why is it that we can leave America and have true freedom and be seen for who we are? Why is it that when we move outside of America, we can be our true, authentic self? We can slow down and really enjoy life, eat great food that's not filled with all this stuff. Why is it? Why is it that we don't prioritize our mental health, but we can do it so easily outside of the United States? Why is it that my children haven't had to experience what it feels like for pow violence to be in their school? Why is it that I have not had to have the conversation with my black boys about how they need to protect themselves because they are black boys? Why is it that I haven't had nobody run up in my house and I moved to another country because they say I don't belong in that home? Why is that? Why is it that we can prioritize self-care and love on ourselves first, which in turns makes us love everyone else around us better? Why is that? Why is it that I actually can make it in another country? That I don't have to live paycheck to paycheck? That I actually can save? I can pay off the little bills, little student loans. Why is it that I can actually plan for my family's future, for my children's future, and I can actually breathe? My equilibrium can breathe. Why is that? Why is it that life outside of the United States is so much better?
Hello guys, welcome to today's topic, and in today's video we are going to dive into why so many Americans are leaving the United States of America to go to overseas country. Is it because of the high cost of living and the high prices that are in the groceries and the skyrocketing groceries? Please continue watching the compilation that I've made for you. Credit goes to the original creators of the videos. Thank you very much.
Americans are leaving America, and it is not for vacation. It's for survival. A growing wave of Americans are packing up, terrified by Trump's dictatorship, Republican fascism, and Democrats' capitulation. Interracial couples, LGBT plus individuals, people of color, and intelligent people in general are seeing their rights replaced with restrictions. In Ireland, U.S. passport applications hit their highest level in a decade, up 60% in just 2 months. France is seeing long-term stay visas for Americans up 20%. Portugal, Spain, UK, relocation companies can barely keep up with demand. Traffic to Blacksit Global, which helps Black Americans relocate, surged 50% after the election. Some are leaving quietly, like a trans couple in Colorado, because Trump wrongly says there are only 2 genders. States are moving to ban gender care, so they're planning their exit. Google searches for how to leave the U.S. spiked after the election, and real estate deals for Americans in Spain surged before the Golden Visa program was shut down. European culture is different than American culture, and many won't adjust. And of course, Europe has its issues: immigrations, taxes. Putin expected to take Moldova and then Romania with his eyes on the rest of Europe for the new Russian Empire. But a possibility of another European war is a safer bet than staying in a country that is already a fascist dictatorship.
So Americans don't want to live in America anymore. Let's talk about it. I think it's a very normal feeling right now that people don't want to live here. I mean, the idea of the American dream is just gone, and everyone in my comment section says the American dream now is to leave America, and that seems to be a resounding sentiment all throughout the internet right now. People want to go. People want to go somewhere else. This doesn't feel like it's it for us. This doesn't feel like it's good for us. And by us, I mean anybody. If you're not in the top 10, the top 5% of this country feels like it's not a place where you can make it, because for the most part, it isn't a place that you can make it. The working poor and the working class are struggling just to stay off the streets, and there's no respite to come. There's no support from the government. There's no support from our neighbors because we don't know them. Our families are broken, so we have no one to fall back to. It just feels hopeless for a lot of people. So of course, there's a natural feeling that I want to go find my peace, my happy life, wherever I can. And it doesn't feel like we can have that in America for a lot of us. And that's why you're seeing people all over TikTok, all over YouTube say that they're leaving the country. They want to leave the country and just go. You know, they don't care what the destination is. They just want to go. I think that this is actually something that really hits to the core of our American past, to actually, go forth and find your place in the world. And I don't begrudge anybody, nor should you, who is pursuing that kind of peace in their life.
Why am I moving to Spain? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's the soft launching of martial law by the President of the United States. Maybe it's the fact that people sitting in our government system are siding with Christian nationalists who want to remove the right for women to vote. Maybe it's the fact that there's an official filing now to overturn the right of same-sex marriage. Maybe it goes all the way back to when Roe versus Wade was overturned, knowing right then, that we as women are completely fucked. It's never been about protecting children. It's never been about immigrants doing it the legal way. And it's definitely never been about lowering the price of fucking eggs. What it has been completely about this entire time is control, money, power, authoritarianism, the patriarchy, but it's never been about the people. None of this has ever been about the people. So we the people are fucking leaving.
Give up everything to come to America, and we're going to be the generation that gives up everything to leave America. I know I'm not speaking for everybody, but I know a large percentage of people right now are at least exploring the idea idea of leaving America because it's just not working out for them here anymore. Over just the past 5 or so years, like, my prospects of building a future here have just completely diminished. With inflation and the massive rise in cost of living, there is zero hope for saving any money. I keep a budget down to the penny, and when I tell you that if I have $17 left over at the end of the month in the green, like, that's a good month. And I live super frugally. I look for deals at the grocery store. I haven't bought name brand in so long. It is so rare that I even buy clothes that aren't like the bare essentials. I just don't feel like that's how life is supposed to be, and this is not what we were all promised. Now, this isn't just a USA problem. I think this is a worldwide problem. I think this is more of a capitalism problem than it is a USA problem. However, I feel like we're just too far gone here, and I want to try something different, as well as many other people. My girlfriend and I are moving abroad, and we don't think it's going to solve all of our problems. In fact, it's probably going to create new problems that we wouldn't even have known existed before moving abroad. It's okay to romanticize a little bit, but we understand this is going to be a big change. The way I see it, it's either stay here and live in a constant state of permanent, tolerable unhappiness, or move abroad, try something new. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but I'll never know unless we try. And at the end of the day, that's really all we can do, and that's just try for a better life. And for some people like me, that means leaving the country and moving abroad. I would love to hear what everyone else is doing. Are you staying put? Are you going abroad?
Americans are leaving the USA because they can't afford America anymore, making $100,000 a year, yet they feel suffocated financially because the price of things keep going up. They keep printing money, and the wages ain't going up, all right? Matter of fact, there's job loss and there's cuts and all kinds of stuff going on. So once people leave that kind of environment and they go somewhere else and they realize life is supposed to be lived, it's supposed to be simple, it's supposed to be much more about enjoying your health and your family and your loved ones and your purpose and all of these things, rather than spending most of your life at work. What kind of a freaking life is it if you don't do what you love? If you do what you love, cool, man, knock yourself out. I do what I love. Most people, 80-something%, don't do what they love. They don't like their job, and if they didn't have to work their job, they wouldn't work their job. So I know if you've watched this far, it's speaking to you. Maybe this is the sign you need to start doing some research to learn how to begin to devise your escape plan and live a better life. Because you know what? If what you're doing is not working, continuing to do the same thing, they call that insanity. You might want to book that flight. See you soon.
9,672 for leaving the U.S. I just watched a video of a woman in Milwaukee standing outside of her home, which is completely destroyed from the recent floods. It's shifted off of its foundation. Giving an interview with the news about how insurance denied their claim. They will not have any coverage for this house. So they have a house that they probably have a mortgage on, and they can't live in it. It's condemned, and their insurance company won't pay them anything for it. And she's standing outside of her home giving this interview holding an urn, and in the urn is her deceased child. And she says, how am I going to survive? I'm still paying the medical bills from my son who's dead. This is the United States. This is the United States. What the hell?
I left America 6 months ago, and my life is infinitely better. Let's talk about it. First things first, I've talked about this in other videos, but it cost me around $1,000 to leave the States, which is significantly less money than I ever anticipated. And I think it's a really important thing for everyone to be talking about, that it actually costs a lot less than you might think to leave the US. Since moving abroad, these are the things that have improved in my life. First and foremost, my physical health is infinitely better. Why? The food is better. The air quality is better. I'm happier. I'm less stressed out. Medicine and healthcare is way more affordable. Like, we're talking apples and oranges. People are nicer here because they are happier here. It is significantly easier to cultivate community in a place where people are trusting and loving and empathetic and kind. And I cannot stress this enough. My central nervous system is relaxed and calm for the first time in my life.
Sometimes I find myself asking, am I the crazy one for wanting to leave, for being ready to leave the United States? Like, am I overreacting? Is it really not that bad? Like, I hear other people talking about leaving, but they're not leaving. You know, like, our house goes on the market next week. So it's very real and it's overwhelming. But when I find myself asking myself those questions, like, is it really that bad? And then I remember what other nations are doing and seeing and saying, and what other leaders from around the world are doing and saying and thinking. And I remember it's not just me. Like, I'm not making this up in my head. This is happening. It just seems too crazy to be real, because, like, how is this reality? How did it get this far? Anyway, that helps remind me that, like, I'm not the crazy one, that it really is this bad. And I so look forward to our new life in the Netherlands. But yeah, there's some things I'll miss from here, mostly people. But that's where we are at here in the United States these days. So, whatever.
I moved out of the US 5 months ago, and it was the best decision I've ever made. I was living in New York City, and then I accepted a job in Beijing and moved in February. It's been absolutely life-changing, absolutely life-changing. Since I left, I had like American blindfolds on, and now being out of America, they're completely removed. I've realized so much being out of the States that the way that Americans live is not normal. The way that politicians are enacting laws and speaking to people and detaining people and shooting people, like, that's not normal. People don't live like that. And I think people of my generation, the generation below me, have gotten so used to absorbing news like that of mass shootings and crime and hate crimes and these crazy laws that are stripping away their rights, that we're just kind of like, oh, that's just how it is. Like, this is normal. It's not. It's not. I walk around outside alone at night, and I've never once feared for my life here. I've never once experienced hate crime. I've never once witnessed hate crime. I've never once witnessed racism here in China. Some countries are worse than others, and I do know that there's a lot of countries that they have their issues, and there are racist people around the world and hate crime around the world. I do understand. But the way that America is set up, it's kind of like we're conditioned to just learn that this is just the normal way of life, and they're almost enabling it through the laws that they're passing and the rights that they're taking away. Needless to say, never been more stress-free living out of the States, saving so much money here. I'm traveling so much more. I'm meeting so many more people. I have the best community around me. I have the best job. I'm able to go to work and then go out for dinner and travel to another country that weekend and come back and work again. Like, I've never been able to experience as much life as I am in these past 6 months than the first 25 years of my life. I can't express, like, you don't realize it until you leave. You do not realize how much you've missed out and how much you've been just tolerating until you leave. I'm very blessed, and the job that I accepted here helped me move, and they help with my living accommodation. And regardless, there's so many jobs that are hiring English teachers, translators. It's so possible, and it's so easy. I don't like how people are throwing their negativity out and saying, oh, well, it's too difficult, it's too expensive. It's not. Do your research. There's ways to do it. I would love to answer any questions that anyone has about moving, or the visa process, or what jobs are out here, or what the price of rent is. Like, I don't know everything because my situation's really specific, but I do know basic stuff here, and I would love to learn more and research more. So if you do have any questions, I would love to answer. I just do want you to know that it's so worth it. It's absolutely so worth it. Leave the country. Leave the country.
My husband and I. So guys, healthcare has become so much expensive in the United States of America, whereby the Americans are feeling that the health services they are being given in the overseas are much better. The services are more deserving of the money that they earn, and hence they are finding it so much easier to go to the foreign countries and get their health services from there. And yet again, they are having to live from paycheck to paycheck. Livelihood has become so difficult in the United States of America, such that it's becoming so hard for them to save even a little dime for their future. And guys, remember, Also, because of the Trump policies, the price of the grocery has skyrocketed in a way that it's becoming so hard for the American people to feed their families. Guys, I want you to remember that the education is becoming so expensive in the United States of America. Tuition fees are giving the Americans headache, and they are having to just manage the little that they are earning. So many people are having to drop out from colleges. There are so many dropouts from colleges, and people are finding it so much easier to just save the little amount they have and just go and run away. Guys, I want you to tell me in the comment section, is the American dream dying, or are people seeing it so much easier to just leave the country and go live the American dream from elsewhere? Because many people are running away and they are going to countries such as Mexico, Portugal, and they are finding it so much easier. They are finding Mexico a much easier country to live in because of the close proximity that it is in with the United States of America, and they feel that they are closer to home, while others are going to Portugal because they feel that when they go to Portugal, the amenities there are so much cheaper and they are so much easier, and they are seeing that their lives there is much easier, and others are even getting their families to come to those countries so that life will be easier. They are saying that foods in those countries so much cheaper than the junk that they get in the United States of America.
I have decided that we just can't do it anymore. We decided to break our lease early and to just leave the country as soon as possible. We're thinking Vietnam initially, then Thailand. Our plan so far is to work every single day until we get over there, to use Delta points to fly there, and to use Hilton points to be able to stay at least for free for the first 3 months. While I'm there, I plan on doing English teaching online to supplement income, but I do plan on having as much money saved as possible. Just need a mental break. At first, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to take a year siesta to get my life together and, get my mental health together. But honestly, it's just so stressful being here. We don't know how long we want to stay gone, but we do know that we're going to travel a few countries, and we want to stay gone at least 2 or 3 years now. We are literally going to turn our whole lives upside down in the next 6 months. So if y'all have any suggestions, please let us know, because at this point we're just winging it. We're just going to sell everything, leave, and just take it from
a really unfortunate news report. As somebody with kids who really values the safety of my children, that was a huge factor when I decided to take my family and start our journey of trying to find a new home outside of the United States. And what happened this morning in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where we used to live, is exactly why we're doing that. And I know that these kind of things can happen anywhere in the world, but I do know that they happen more frequently there. And it's really unfortunate. It's not the way it should be. And if there are any parents out there who are thinking maybe they want to go and seek life somewhere maybe a little safer, it is possible. You can do it, and your kids will adjust. They might even be happier. Don't be afraid, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about it or doing it. It was a little difficult at first, still a little difficult, but definitely.
Over 300,000 women of color have left the workforce in the United States. That's about 2% of our GDP, and I don't know if y'all know how devastating that's going to be in years to come. Large portion of them are actually leaving the United States. We are literally seeing groups of these amazing women of color moving to Portugal, Spain, Thailand, places in Africa, and rebuilding and restructuring their lives. It's one thing that a Black woman can do, and that's definitely concretize her situation. It's a phrase that I coined called situational wealth. Forget about generational wealth. We're going to make our situation work for us, whether we doing some hair, we teaching, we preaching, we're going to make it work. So they are going to places where they are appreciated, loved, cared for, and people actually value their education and their experience.
I want to be real clear when I say this. I think I speak for everybody lately. We don't mind working. We do mind working our asses off and not being able to live. It's not about being ungrateful. It's about our reality. Our dollar doesn't stretch like it used to. And now we're expected to get roommates, pick a side hustle, drive for Uber, sell shit online, just to keep the lights on and food in the fridge. This isn't a work ethic problem. This is a fucked economy problem. Well, one job used to be enough. Now it's not even close. But instead of fixing that, they tell us, work harder, get a better job, stop whining. Nah, bro, fuck that. You gutted the middle class. You let rent skyrocket. You made healthcare unaffordable. Groceries are insane. Utilities go up. And then you look us in the eye and say we're the issue. You can't gaslight an entire generation into thinking they're broken just because the system doesn't work anymore. And we're done pretending this is normal. I've said this many fucking times. We don't hate work. We hate giving everything we've got and still falling behind.
In the United States of America and having to just live from paycheck to paycheck and having to pay the rent, having to pay the school fees, and at the end of the day you are saving nothing. At the end of the day you have nothing because the exhaustion is just too much. People are finding it so difficult to live in the United States of America, having to save nothing. Others are saying that they are fleeing the United States of America because of the high crime rate and because of the racism that they find in that country. They are saying that racism in other countries is not compared to the high rate of racism that is in the United States of America, and they are finding it easier, and the communities are safe outside the United States of America, and people are becoming just hopeless because of the political situation of the country, and the politicians not being able to keep their promises. The Trump policies are just crushing the Americans. The tariffs are just crushing them and making them not to want to stay there. The price of groceries is just skyrocketing and making them not to be able to bear and not be able to put food in the table. Guys, I want you to tell me, do you think that this is more reason for them to just abandon the American dream and go elsewhere and start life from scratch? Because guys, even the professionals from nurses to doctors, they are having to abandon their careers in the United States of America and having to go and practice them in other countries such as Vietnam. So guys, this is all the commentary I had, guys, and I need you to just tell me in the comment section, is it worthwhile to live your whole life in the United States of America and go and start afresh in another country? Guys, I am so glad that you watched this video this far. And guys, tell me in the comment section if you want me to bring more videos like this. What videos would you like me to bring next? I really appreciate your support, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, remember to subscribe and give a like to this channel. And also guys, please remember to share this channel. Thank you so much for your support and take care. Bye. Thank you for your time.